Before I begin showing off the insane amount of metal dice that was sent to me, do you remember the Lord of the Dice Kickstarter, the one die to rule them all that was really cool? Well, that Kickstarter's done, and they sent me some of them. Okay, so they sent me a lot of them. It's the same company that makes the dice that we're going to talk about today, and the reason I'm showing these off is because these were a Kickstarter or a crowdfunding project that got to market, and there's some information about that that's going to be relevant when we talk about the dice in this video. And so this isn't just a kind of segue for no reason. It's not a sponsored segment. I don't have to talk about these, but I think it's important for what I'm going to do when I talk about the dice coming up. First of all, these turned out amazing. I couldn't be happier with them now that they're delivered and a final product in my hand. A quick summation for those who didn't see that video. It's essentially a full set of RPG dice in one. You've got a D4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 20, except you use spinners instead of rolling the die, and then you just stop it on the dial and it gives you a number. That way you have all of them in one, and it's kind of a cool desk toy. It's very weighty. It feels quality. They're lots of fun, and I use them for a fidget spinner on my table all the time. But the reason I'm showing these in this video instead of some other video is because if you look at the prototypes that I have on the right compared to the finished product on the left, there's lots of scratches on the metal. There's even some weird build lines where maybe the tolerance where they cut or shape the metal is not exactly up to snuff. But the ones on the left, they're so clear, so smooth and polished up to stuff. Even tiny things like the numbers are a little bit easier to read. They were able to make final minute adjustments in the product to make it better. I just thought that was relevant to a point that I'm going to make later about the dice that we're going to review. As always, I try and be as transparent as I possibly can. So just so you know, all of this was sent to me for free, and I will have an affiliate link for checking out these dice in the description below. So if you think that biases me in any way as you listen to my review, just take that into account. Now let's get into the review and actually talk about the dice, which are gorgeous. They have an angels and demon motif, which of course it's the Angels and Demons crowdfunding campaign, and theirs is on GameFound, not Kickstarter, if that matters to you. There's 5 sets of each that I get to review, and I think there's 5 sets of each total on the crowdfunding campaign. They have an angel's wing style or a demon's wing style, and all of them are covered in tiny little gears, and the wings themselves appear to be man-made. The angel's wings are pretty sharp, so I wouldn't say that they're exactly feathered, and the demon's ones look to be almost like made out of metal poles or steampunk materials with like canvas between, not exactly demon's wings. As far as the makeup and design of them, they're not extremely sharp on the ends, which I personally appreciate because anytime that there's metal dice and they're sharp like that, they really hurt when I'm picking up the D8s and the D4s. So I get tired of that, and I like these where they're a little bit softer on the edges, but they look to be sharp-edged dice. So I really enjoy the design of them, which is on all of the different Angels and Demons ones, and then they come in a bunch of different colors. They come from matte to the kind of rainbow metal to something crazy chrome-y. And so I'm going to show you all of those so you can see all the different designs, because luckily they sent me all of them. Obviously, my absolute favorites are these gold ones here, but I am playing a cleric, a light cleric of the Silver Flame in an Eberron campaign, and so I've got a soft spot for these silver ones with gold numbers on them as well. I wouldn't say any of them have a bad design by any means, and I really like this gold demon one that has the silver numbers on it. I always like a dark gold as well as a light gold, so yeah, but I'm just kind of biased to anything gold. I know a lot of people are going to like this gothy emo stone one with the red vampire-y letters, and if you were worried about the angel ones being too goody two-shoes, take a look at this set here that's this brass color with blood splatter all over it. I think it's awesome. It's definitely one of the most unique ones, but I do worry when I see dice like this that have paint over it about the longevity. So what I did was I took the same metal dice and tried to scratch any of the blood paint off of it so I could tell how long this paint would actually last, and I tried really hard. I'm pushing pretty dang hard on this, and I couldn't get any of the blood to come off. So as far as durability is concerned, these sets are looking really good so far, especially because I thought that paint would definitely come off. This is the most unique set out of all of them. This kind of rose gold that is just so shiny, it's nearly chromatic. It stands out as the absolute showstopper of the set, but for it to be this shiny, that indicates to me that this is a plating over these dice. There's nothing wrong with that, but plating will often show scratches and dents much easier than other material will. Now, that's just how material work, right? Like you can scratch one thing with the same material, but plating really kind of shows off those scratches a little bit more easily. I can't notice it from a distance, but you can notice it up close, and potentially the longevity of these won't be as nice if they get a bunch of scratches just rolling around with each other. Now, one thing I do want to show off is if you take a look at all of the different D20s here, what's something that you notice? Because it was pretty obvious to me as soon as I opened all of the boxes. Yeah, okay, they're all good looking for sure, but some of these I just can't frickin' read. These 4 in particular are the biggest culprits. I don't know if you came to this conclusion on your own, but take a look at how difficult it is to read these from a distance. Maybe the blood splatter one is not that big a deal. Sometimes the rainbow one has an issue. But man, those shiny metal ones, they're just difficult to read. And I know that's super important for a D20 to be ultra visible to people. I just complained about that on the Pixel Dice Kickstarter, and so it's an issue to me. The silver and rose gold are probably the most difficult to read, but I would say the gold is at least the easiest out of those four. I hesitated even saying this one was difficult, but it still is, and I wanted to be pretty upfront with that. And so with these four in mind, I was like, that sucked. But wait, they sent me some more dice. Why did they send me these? Oh, shoot. Okay, they fixed the issue because they sent me some with slightly bigger numbers, and they must have realized that, oh yeah, those are difficult to read. So showing the new ones off on the right, boom, look at those bigger numbers. I can see that immediately. Those are vastly different. And wait, hold on. Why is there a 19 under the 20? That's not correct. And an 18 next to that. Okay. All right. These are the spin down D20s. I did not know at the time of opening the boxes that they offered spin down D20s with this crowdfunding campaign, but they do. And for some reason, the numbers on these are like 10% larger, and it is just enough to make the difference to where I can read these on the table with no issues whatsoever. And so I thought, they had made a second round of prototypes and these ones are just better. But no, that's just not the case. They also offer spin down D10s, but those don't really improve much. They're a little bit thinner, but I can read all of the D4 through D12 on those sets, even with the kind of D20s that I can't read on them, no problem. It's just the D20s that are an issue, and so I don't really know why their spin down numbers are just a little bit larger, but they are. Let's take a look at one of the ones that is difficult to read up close, the silver one, and you can see the numbers where you do the inking, where the color goes, is off. There's not a lot of room for the inking to actually set in, so you can't get a lot of color that contrasts with the material on the outside. I thought it was an issue with the angel molds, because you can see these demon ones here, they have plenty of room for color to sit in them, but that's just not the case. You can see this other angel mold here on the left is different because the angel wings come in at a different angle. So that means every material that they use has its own mold. I'm not exactly sure how they make these, but ultimately that means some of the numbers that get placed on the shiny metallic angel ones have an issue being inked. And so that makes it hard to see the numbers in contrasting to the color. And so I hope they fix that for the final run. That's why I mentioned that with the Lord of the Dice in the very beginning, but we'll come back to that in a second. For now, let's look and listen to how they roll so that you can get that information as well. All in all, I really love these sets. I love the designs. I love the colors. The only issues that I have with them are on the D20s on a few of the sets and potentially some of the durability on the chrome one. But that's why I went on that tangent about the Lord of the Dice in the very beginning. It's the same company and they improved and iterated on their prototype before they actually released it. So I think that they'll do that on this one, but I can't say that. I don't know that for sure, but just from experience, I think that they will. But, buyer beware if you decide that, hey, I want to try one of those shiny metallic ones. They might be difficult to read on the D20s at a distance. They're still so pretty. They're my favorite sets of the bunch, but it is annoying when I have to pick them up to read them. I'll put a link in the description down below in case anybody wants to check these out. And I think you can even add on one of the Lord of the Dice things that I showed off at the beginning of the video. And those are a lot of fun too. Comment if there's any other crowdfunding campaigns or products you might want me to review. I try and be as thorough as I possibly can. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss when those come out. Yes, you, Emily, I'm talking about you. If you could put down your lunch and hit that sub button, that would be fantastic. Speaking of, I hope that you all have a fantastic day.